Good evening, everybody. If you can please stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. We have no request to speak at open forum, so we will jump right in with the superintendent's report.
I'll start off with the Raymond's Holiday Production presentation. And if you know the partnership that we have with our Raymond Welding Skills Development Program that Mr. Waltz teaches, oversees, facilitates, done it for a number of years. And one of the really cool initiatives and partnerships is that Raymond asks our group to build their holiday display that's displayed at the Roberson Museum. And their design statement this year was design and fabricate a holiday sculpture to be displayed at the Roberson Museum. Home for the holiday celebration was the theme to represent both Sidney High School and the Raymond Corporation. And if you look in the back, you'll see that they designed and fabricated the entire display. And you can actually see, excuse me, in your handout, just kind of the process from the design statement to the theme. Again, the possible theme could have been letters to Santa. That's what they chose for this one here. Some of the constraints and time commitments. And as you flip through kind of the design process, some really cool photos of the kids working on it. And then the last page on the right-hand side is it actually set up in the Roberson Museum. Mr. Sten and Mr. Waltz take the kids down to the Roberson Museum each year to go see their work set up in the museum. It's super cool. So it's in the back. So you see the sleigh, the Santa, the mailbox, design created all by our kids. This is my favorite over the, what is this now, the fifth one, Mr. Stena? Fourth or fifth one?
At least 5.
Yeah, at least 5, right? This is my favorite. Super cool. Nice job. I know Raymond had, the Raymond Corporation shared it internally. I think actually, Carrie, you had shared it with us with an internal posting within the Raymond too. So just a really neat opportunity. Thanks to Mr. Waltz. Thanks to the Raymond partnership. And thanks to the kids for having some creativity in designing it and fabricating it and putting it all together start to finish. That was super cool. So.
And they don't have a long time to do it, right? They get the.
They don't. So like you see on the front page,
yeah.
right? And I don't remember exactly when it was presented to the kids, but it was to be completed by Wednesday, November 8th.
Yeah, I think they said it was like 3 weeks or like some crazy.
That's amazing.
Yeah. Yep.
Fantastic.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. So just a shout out to the Raymond Well Skill Development Program with the kids in there, and Mr. Waltz and Mr. Sender for the work that you're doing with that too. So, okay, good job with that. Then just a couple updates. The policy committee reconvened. We met last Tuesday. Thank you very much. So there are 6 policies that you'll see in the action consent. You see, so we're not going to read through all of those individually, put them right in the action consent. There are 3 that are just updated that are first reading and then adoptions. And then there are 3 policies that are new policies that are up for the first reading that will go to a second reading and adoption for, or at the February board meeting. So thank you very much for next Tuesday. And then we have set up a reoccurring meeting to be the Tuesday prior to the board meeting for the policy reviews and for those next steps. So again, thank you very much. Appreciate that. And then just a quick update, as I mentioned last month, I'll give a little quick snapshot on the electrification process and electric vehicles for the district. Is we have supplied all the material or information for the application for the transportation study. The study to the partnership is through Leonard Buses and Cornice Technology. So we've provided all of the district information. And the application's been submitted through Cornice Technology through NYSERDA for the transportation study. This is not like applying for a grant form or anything, just the transportation study. And the study takes anywhere from 60 to 90 days to be able to turn back around. So let's say somewhere between like March and April, we'll present that study to you. And that will show all the different routes that an electric bus could work with, some of your charging, your infrastructure, a lot of stuff, right? So we'll digest that as we get it, and we'll share that. We also, at the end of the week, have NICEAG coming to take a look at what energy capacity is currently going to the transportation center, what are we currently using, and what is the capacity there. That'll be an important piece, really for the energy provider to say, hey, this is what's coming to you. The energy study will show what we need to maximize if we have to charge all of the buses at the same time, right? Whether it be level 2, level 3 charge, doesn't really matter, but like to the output, if you will, for what our need would be for our fleet. So NICEAG will be here later this week. And that's kind of where we're at with that. And so each month I'll give you kind of a quick little snapshot just to kind of where we're at to continue conversation about it. Remember, kind of that long outturn goal would really be May of 2026 to have a proposition for an electric bus to be ordered, right? And that one bus or two buses, whatever we decide to do, depends on where we're at that point in time, a year down the road, is then to experiment with it and play with it, right? That would be for our drivers to be trained on it, it would be our mechanics to train on them. It would be to run certain routes to see how it works, to kind of experiment with that. But that would be the plan, again, down the road. But we'll do our due diligence, we'll make sure we do our homework, share any information that we have from this transportation center, you kind of work through it collectively. In the last spot is just an update on the mascot. We got through the new year, and we are now going to switch gears into high gear, if you will, for the development, if you will, the creation of the mascot. So again, outcome would be to be able to have the mascot revealed at the March 12th board meeting, very similar to what we did with the nickname. So we would like to send out an email to our city community, our school community, just letting them know that the nickname process has been completed and moving to the next stages for the creation of the new logo or mascot. We will send this out Thursday at about 11 o'clock or so, this Thursday, 11 o'clock. And what it is telling people that if they are interested in submissions, to go to our website. It'll be similar to where the nickname process was on our website, kind of the step-by-step surveys, collecting that information, is information specific to submissions of ideas, file type, requirements from our branding guide with regards to the specific maroon color, the white, the gray, if they're going to include that, what that color brand has to be, again, the file type, and how to submit it. We're going to use the the communications at Sidney CSD email. It's the one that's on the website that they can submit ideas for. We'll use that for submission ideas, and we'll have all the information on the website on the Thursday in the morning that if people are interested, you can click on that. And I think submissions are going to be due February 2nd, Friday, February 2nd, and then we will have our student group take a look at those submissions. We'll go through and make sure that obviously they're not trademarked, copyrighted, things like that. And then start to have the students work through any things that they might want edited. Hey, we like this, but what about maybe smaller this or larger this or change the color of this? And we'll work with whoever submitted that to be able to modify some of those changes from the students and make those editings until the student group is kind of where they want to be with it. And then we'll present it again, hopefully at the March 12th board meeting is a time and place. And the idea for that is to make sure that we have enough time to build either into the budget, some costs for rebranding, but also time to order supplies and materials. Just the whole rebranding process is going to take a little bit of time. So make sure that we get that done and set so that we kind of have an idea what we want to do moving forward with that. The logo of the mascot.
Just a quick question. I
Sure.
saw in your thing that you had either animal themed or the second referencing sabers, like I imagine like the swords or, whatever.
Well, yeah, no swords. This is just the animal. So we're talking about like a logo and a mascot. So a mascot might be what you might see is somebody wearing at a football game, basketball game, something like that as a mascot, right? And your logo would be something that would be of the animals, like a saber-tooth tiger type of deal. That would be like your logo. You can have a primary logo or secondary logo, one that might include the word sabers, one that might include the word Sidney on it. That's where we would collect those ideas and have the kids take a look at those. Right?
Okay. So you are trying to go animal themed?
Yes.
More.
Yeah, this is not a sword. This is not a saber.
I know that's a whole nother can of worms.
Nope. No, this is the animal one. Because if you remember how they described it, how it was submitted to us, it was fierce, brave, and I can't remember, fierce, brave, and strong, mighty, powerful. Like that was the description of when saber was recommended. And I think that's really all I have. Oh, let me talk, I'm sorry, let me switch back to the electrification of vehicles. I know I talked a little bit about that, but I want to make sure I pay attention to the fleet replacement, just with the diesel fleet replacement at the same time, is right now preliminarily thinking that we would replace 2 65-passenger buses and then 1 35-passenger bus with a wheelchair lift capability, so that we would do 3 diesel buses, probably build them right into like our general fund that we did for the last few times and pay for them that way and not finance them. So you wouldn't see them as a separate proposition on the vote. But right now, that's very preliminary. We'll keep giving you some ideas of that. But right now, thinking about what we want to replace and be able to get our fleet to that 2035, running our diesel fleet, that really kind of makes sense right now. So just spent a lot of time with Mr. Russell and Mrs. Warner the last few days, and over break, really looking at the fleet replacement, not only for the diesel fleet, but also obviously for the electrification process. So just kind of that's where we're at with that. 2 diesel buses, 65-passenger, and then 1 35-passenger with a wheelchair.
Was there anything in the state of the state today that you heard about?
I'll be honest with you, I turned it on at 1 o'clock, and the governor wasn't on until at least 1:30, and I went to the elementary school for after
I
school.
watched it.
Was there anything?
No, actually, I was surprised. There was a lot about mental health, housing.
Science of reading. There was a piece on there of science of reading. I know.
Yeah, but not, like last year, she had a big focus about schools and funding. I was also surprised there wasn't a lot about the electrification, because that's been a big piece of her budgets and presentations, and not much said, which makes me wonder what the real effect of that will be. But yeah, until we get the full,
I was gonna say, we'll see.
you know, but her highlights weren't, but she said there were 200, and I think she said there were 210 actions in this year's proposal. So she made a joke about having it by your bedside tonight and reading through it. So I am not downloading it, but
I had it started, like I said, but I went to the elementary.
yeah, she came on at like 1:30, and then and then with all the introductions, it will start till like 1:45.
But yeah, as things become part of that, we'll share some of those, the key highlights.
Yeah.
From there, so. Yeah. And I think that's all I got. Oh, I'm sorry. A couple events coming up. I shared with you, but just a community outreach. If you, the community cooking classes, the partnership with our farm to school and the Cornell Cooperative Extension, I think those are important too. Is like they fill up fast, right? Those are things that are pretty well attended by our community. I think that's just a great partnership again with Cornell Cooperative Extension and our Sidney Farm to School program, and really getting our facilities more accessible to the community. So those cooking classes, I think there's 6 sessions that go on to that. It's a pretty cool piece of that. And the only other thing I think is, again, part of our community outreach is there's an event going on January 16th. It's part of our family engagement, our cultural engagement night. If Sean Rob, you want to just talk just really quickly on that, Mr. Wood?
Yeah, I can. So we're having a cultural celebration night, is what we call it. During January each year, we have some sort of family engagement night at elementary schools. Really well attended. And the goal of that is to really bring families in with the parents to bring their kids in and to do something together. We really tried to, the last couple of years, make it hands-on. You walk out with something, whether it's they build birdhouses, whether you're doing plant that you plant with potting soil. We've done a lot of different things, and we feel like we've kind of hit a wall of doing the same thing each year, so they thought of doing something a little different, making an extension of the classroom. We talked a lot about different cultures in the classroom, and they thought about, well, if we want hands-on activities, we want to be fun with the families, why don't we think about the different places and cultures that they might not experience, and then utilize the same things, hands-on cooking, crafting, arts, games. So it's a chance for the students to come in and, play a board game with their family there, or a different type of game that might be in the culture, do some art, listen to some music, maybe cook something that they might not taste on a daily basis. And so that's what they're going to do. This is not really excited about it. And it's on January 16th, and we picked that date specifically because we try to do it on a night where there's not a lot of athletic events. It's the only night where there's no athletic.
Until things are canceled.
Until after school.
Until tonight.
Yeah.
Either way, that's the intention. Like I said, I know the teachers were really excited about picking. We tried to get as many different places as we could, to be, celebrate.
Thanks. And I think that's it.
Any other questions, Mr. Bullock? Okay. Moving on. Resolved upon the recommendation of the superintendent of schools to approve the minutes from the regular Board of Education meeting held on December 12th, 2023.
Okay.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Resolved upon the recommendation of the superintendent of schools to approve the personnel consent agenda as presented. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Resolved upon the recommendation of the superintendent of schools to approve the consent agenda as presented. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Oh my God, yes. You guys kept it tonight, it just makes sense.
Way to lead. Resolved upon the recommendation of the superintendent of schools to approve the overnight field trip for the New York State FFA State Leaders Experience being held February 5th through 6th, 2024.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Resolved upon the recommendation of the superintendent of schools to approve the FFA Winter Camp Weekend at the Oswegatchie Educational Center, March 8th through 10th, 2024.
Moved.
Second.
Discussion?
Congratulations on saying that.
Yeah.
Took me 20 years to figure that out. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Resolved upon the recommendation of the superintendent of schools to enter into a contract with Field Turf USA, Inc. under the terms and conditions of the KPN Cooperative Purchasing Contract number 201801-01 Cooperative Purchasing Contract and its related proposal dated November 7th, 2023 for the acquisition and installation of artificial turf, batting cages, and related equipment, materials, and services in connection with a component of the project as presented.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion.
This is just a replacement of the wire behind the home plate of the baseball field with a replacement of the block S, very similar to like the softball field. Replacement of some of the batting areas, installation of the batting cages, both in softball and baseball. Installation of a permanent sleeve into the softball mound. And
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Board member comments? Okay. Motion to adjourn?
So moved.
second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Thank you, everybody.
Thanks for coming out.
Get home safe.
Hope the roads aren't too bad we came in. Just rain.
I mean, it was
Rain,
pretty
rain.
bad.